Hi. Elizabeth Shanklenbergerlund. Everybody just called her Beth for short. She had just turned 17, and she got it in her head she wanted a job. She wanted to earn some money because you know why? She had, I almost forgot again. What's with this? Forgetting this. I can't forget that. Beth wanted a job. And because she had seen uptown in Possum Trot a brand new motor scooter for sale. It was in the window of the hardware store. And it was just beautiful. She went in there with her sister Jill. And so they were looking at this motor scooter. And Beth said to her sister, she said, "Oh, I'd love to have that. I could use that to get to my new job, whatever that is. I could use it for so many things. I'm getting older now, and pretty soon, next year, I'll be out of high school." And Jill said, "That's right." She said, "In fact, I know of somebody that's looking for somebody to help them." And Beth said, "What is that?" And she said, "Mr. Umpy that owns the Possum Trot Cafe, he's looking for somebody to wash the dishes for him. And I'll bet that you could get that job. He's been looking for a little while." And Jill said, "I don't want to do it, but I bet you would like to do that." And yeah, Beth thought about it. She said, "Yeah, I do the dishes a lot at home anyway." So the very next day, she went up there to see Mr. Umpy. Well, Beth, in the meantime, before she went to see Mr. Umpy, forgot to tell you, she had talked with her daddy. And her daddy said, "Yes, I don't see any objection for you working to get that motor scooter." He said, "In fact, just to teach you some responsibility, I will let you work to get that motor scooter, and I'll let you have it if you make enough money to pay for half of it. And then as a gift, I'll pay for the other half of it for your birthday." And oh, was Beth ever excited about that. And so she couldn't wait until Monday morning came around. It was summertime, so she was off of school. And she just couldn't wait to go ask Mr. Umpy for a job because Mr. Umpy wasn't there at the cafe on weekends. It was somebody else. So she went in early Monday morning and she said, "Mr. Umpy, I heard from my sister that you're looking for somebody to work in your cafe and work in the kitchen. Is that right?" And Mr. Umpy said, "Yes, I sure am." He said, "I could sure use a dishwasher. I need somebody that can really clean them up good and somebody that's dependable and that'll do a good job. And I know you, Beth, and I know you would be dependable." And she said, "Oh, could I please have the job, Mr. Umpy?" And Mr. Umpy said, "Sure." So Mr. Umpy said, "Since this is Monday, you can start tomorrow. You can start on Tuesday if you want to." He said, "But be here bright and early." He said, "Because we have people coming in for breakfast at 6 o'clock, and they're already finishing up their meals by 6:15. Some of them, they eat fast." And she said, I'll be here. Oh, she just couldn't wait to start work. All she could see in her head was that bright, brand new motor scooter. Oh, she wanted that so bad. So she said, "I'll be here, Mr. Umpy." And sure enough, she did show up on time. And she put on her apron and she went into the back, into the kitchen, and was ready to receive. They had another gal that went around with a big, like a bus boy, a bus girl with a pan and collecting the dishes off of the tables and then bringing them back to the dishwasher in the back. So she was all at her station, ready to go. Big double sink in front of her. And and the dishes started coming in. Oh, they started. Mr. Umpy's cafe was so popular. The Possum Trot Cafe. Well, actually, it was the only cafe. That's why it was so popular. So she was at her station at the ready in front of the sink, ready to do all those dishes. And they started coming in, and she got lots of dishes that had gooey egg yolk still on them for people that didn't like hard-boiled eggs or hard-fried eggs. They wanted them over easy. Well, there was a lot of egg yolks and leftover bacon, and there was a lot of butter smeared across the top of the plate. And some people wanted biscuits and gravy, so they had gravy on them, and there was bacon and ham on the plate, and people didn't finish their food. And so, especially the people with kids, they wouldn't finish. And so all these plates started coming back to her with the greasy gravy and the egg yolks and the syrup on them and everything. And so she said, thank you, thank you. And she starts taking the pan and turns on the hot water, and she starts doing the dishes. And she's setting them over on the rack on the side, trying to get, and more soap over here, okay. And she's scrubbing away. Boy, some of those egg yolks are hard to get off after they're on there for a little bit. And so she was working away there, but it kept coming. There were people coming in not only for breakfast, now they're coming in for brunch, and then they start coming in for lunch, and then they start coming in for an early dinner. And she had dishes going almost to the ceiling. They were and she's, hold on, and she's rubbing them and scrubbing them and rinsing them off and trying to get them over there. And some of them were even falling on the floor on each side, the clean ones and the dirty ones. Some of them were going down on the floor. Mr. Umpy had a dog with an appetite, so the dog was down there eating leftover pancakes and eggs and bacon and stuff, and leftover pork chops. And so she'd take the plate off the floor. Get out of here now. She said, now go on, Roger. You get out of here. And then she had to wash that plate. Be sure she thought, I wish the dog could help me wash the plates. He licked them pretty clean. And she thought about it, and she said, no, that wouldn't be right. And so she was and she just couldn't stand it. And pretty soon the flies started coming and landing on those piles of dishes that she had. The pile that she had on this side to do yet was a lot bigger than the pile on the other side that she had already washed. And then she had to even put them away after that in their proper places. She just couldn't keep up with it all. And pretty soon the whole place was some of the dishes, she noticed, real quickly started growing like hair on them or something like that. And she discovered those were the dishes that came in early in the morning that she hadn't done yet, but something got on them. But it was just a mess. Well, the dog is down there. I'll help you do the dishes. She said, no, Roger, get out of here. Well, anyway, she just had to, when the restaurant closed, she was so exhausted. And Mr. Umpy said, oh, thank you, Beth. Thank you so much. And I'll see you tomorrow. And she didn't answer him. She was so exhausted. And she said, well, maybe I'll feel better about it in the morning again. Well, she went home, and she thought, she climbed in her nice clean sheets, had a shower, and just felt so good. And said her prayers and crawled under the sheets. And she thought, I'll close my eyes and just think about the scooter. And she tried and tried to think about that scooter. But all that kept coming in her head were those dirty pots and pans and dishes and forks with egg yolks in between the tines of the forks. And all of this stuff she didn't have room to envision her new motor scooter that she wanted. And she just tossed and turned all night. Motor scooter, and it just wouldn't leave her head. And that's a shame, because that's the way it is with a lot of people. Our brain is like a sponge, and what we see or are with or hear all day long, our brains, our sponges soak all of that in. It takes pictures of it in our brain, and it's awful. We can't get rid of it. And if we have a busy day and we're thinking of all the things we did through the day, or how about the things that we watched on the computer we should not have watched, or the television programs that have coarse language and a lot of violence and all of these things that God really doesn't like. The Lord tells us we should fill our minds whatsoever things are good and honest and pure and lovely. If there's any good report, think on these things. So anyway, she could not sleep that night. And she tried it for one more day, and she just could not take it. She said, Mr. Umpy, I just can't keep up with all this. Go buy a bloomin' dishwasher, please. And Mr. Umpy said, oh, that's all right, Beth. So he said, I'll find somebody else. I'll do something else. And he paid her for the day that she had been there. But you see how important it is when we go to bed at night that our brain is like a camera, and it's taking pictures, and our ears are like not speakers, but our ears take in the sound, the volumes and the sounds of all the things around us, and we get saturated with all this ugly stuff. Maybe it's not egg yolks and gravy, but it's awful stuff that we should not be taking in. And that's why it's so important to keep our mind set on things that are from the Lord instead of those. And then we can go to, when my kids were little, their daddy and I used to read to them Bible stories before bed, and we would pray with them. Or it's good to put things in your mind that are good and healthy for you. Think about the Lord. Think about the good things He's given us in life. But remember, your brain is a sponge, and whatever you hang around with or listen to the most, that's what you're going to turn into, wanting more and more of it. And that's a very dangerous place to be. But we can ask God to help us through those times. We can change. It's never too late to change. Okay, bye-bye. Mr. Umpy, I think, finally bought a dishwasher. About time, huh?